If you could place a theme on it, what would the theme be?
Well, clearly, that when you stand back and you look at this record, it clearly has a spiritual overtone to it. Records can be a party record. It can be but this is but this record is clearly sort of embodies a lot of spiritual themes. And by spiritual, some of two of the songs on it are overtly gospel, but just throughout it, it's an album that addresses the spiritual nature of where we are.
I certainly did pick up on that theme, and the gospel tracks, as you say, are quite strong. But never at any stage do I notice it becoming preachy, if you know what I mean.
I don't want it. It shouldn't that it is spiritual doesn't mean that it's preachy, John. The fact is that I'm presently 55, but this was written over the last few years, so it was written in my early 50s, and naturally, as we get to ages, we tend to drift to a more spiritual conceptualization.
It was a relatively long process, though, getting the CD together, wasn't it? There was quite a production.
Well, things take time. As you can tell, this is a big, complicated record. It has a huge quantity of, a huge cast of characters on it. It was produced in Nashville and in New York City, and it just, when you put together a record this big, it's going to take time. and it took about a year and a half. It took about a year and a half to record, and it took a couple of years before that to write. So yeah, all in, it was about a 3-year project.
Other than that, what else has been keeping you busy between records?
Well, what I do is I tour a lot. I play live. I have a full touring schedule all the time here around the United States. I do not know what the injustice that's being perpetrated that I haven't gotten to Australia many times in my career, but I never have. That is something I would like to rectify very soon. I teach. I'm a professor at a music school in Boston called the Berklee College of Music.
Yep.
And so I'm a professor there one day a week. I live at Harvard University. I've been living here for the last 5 years as what they call an artist in residence.
Okay.
Don't worry, I don't know what it means either. So, but if you're going to live here, they got to give you a title, and so that's the academic way, obviously. And I think living here, it's expected that I'll participate in the life of the university and be available in this environment, and I am, and I enjoy it very much. So that's the makeup.
Right. So that work at Harvard is like a consultancy type situation, is it? Or
well, I mean, I live here, and I pay a modest rent to have an apartment in one of they call them houses here, but basically it's a dorm. And I have a small apartment in one of the dorms, and I pay a modest rent to be here. But it's also expected that, again, that I will, and I do seminars and have a few guitar and music students and that sort of thing.
Okay. Has your work there and your work at Berklee caused you to have to slow down your performing schedule at all?
No, I don't. I don't think so. There's a certain amount of performing that for me works well, and that tends to be basically if I'm performing 2 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week, in that range, that's perfect for me. Any more than that, then I tend it tends to get it gets tired for me. So to perform a couple of days a week, and then to teach a couple of days a week, and then to goof off a couple of days a week. Yep, that makes sense to me.
So with the new CD, have most of the songs on here been written since your last release, or have there been some held over for a while?
No, all of these songs, everything on this CD has been written in the last 3 years.
Okay.
It's been an enormously prolific time for me, and indeed, John, I've got a great deal more material that it's my intention to start recording again in the fall, because I've got a great deal more material. I don't know why. I just went when I hit the age of 50 and moved into Harvard University here. I just hit an enormously productive and prolific time.
Right, so you would say that work you're doing there at Harvard and Berkeley is, in a way, it has influenced the way you go about your music.
Well, I think so. I'm a real student of songs. I mean, I study all the time. I study the great writers, Gershwin and Cole Porter and Lerner and Lowe and Rodgers and Hart, Rodgers and Hammerstein. I go after these great writers all the time, and I when I get sick of my own playing, I say this to my students all the time. I ask them, do you ever get bored of what you're playing, of your own chord changes? And they go, yeah. And I go, well, then when you do, stop doing them and do somebody else's. and I had a young person ask me recently if they should take on a writing partner. And of course, my advice is you already have I say, be advised, two blind people still can't see, and you have a writing partner, and his name is George Gershwin. Write with the great writers. Meaning study what they did and do what they do, because they're doing it great.
Let's talk about some of the songs on the CD. Really nice to see your one-time sister-in-law, Carly Simon, singing with you.
Carly throughout this entire project. By the way, I knew Carly long before she knew James, and she and I have been friends for for what's got to be 40 years. And so when I was writing this record, I was writing these songs, and I thought that they were turning out well, and so I would take them to Carly, and she was so helpful in terms of editing, in terms of guiding me, and encouraging me to keep writing. She was absolutely wonderful and integral to the making of this record. Had it not been for Carly, she really guided me throughout this project. And she of course is a world-class songwriter herself, and was amazingly supportive as I was coming with just this flood of new material.
Now that song she appears on you with, Best of Friends, was originally written for television, is that right?
Well, I wrote that as a. I was redoing. Somebody was pitching the TV show Friends had gone into syndication, and they were pitching my singing a Bette Midler song, "You've Got to Have Friends." No, you got to have friends. Yes. It wasn't working out very well, and I wasn't particularly enthusiastic about singing it, and I wasn't doing a very good job with it. And so I started to, and so I thought to myself, well, you ought to write a different song. And so instead of "You've Got to Have Friends," I started writing "We're the best of friends, heart and soul." And so I just wrote a couple of little lines of it. And then I played it for them. They said, "No, we don't want this." And I said, "Okay, no, that's no problem." And that one I did tuck into a corner, and then pulled it out and finished it. And it's one of the first songs that I took to Carly.
Yeah.
And
I think it found its rightful home on the CD, I think. I was surprised to read it was the first time that all three of you, your brother James, your sister Kate, and yourself, had sung together in the studio. Well,
it was the first time. It's not easy for us to get together in a recording environment. It's we have different schedules, and I think that people, when they think about my brother James and my sister Kate and I, John, they sort of think about one of these famous musical families, the Osmonds or the King family, or the Jacksons. And what people don't realize is that those families existed because either a patriarch or a matriarch of draconian proportion lorded over them and whooped them into some kind of shape. So and that just isn't the case with us. James has his career, I've got mine, Kate's got hers, and we're all very proud of each other's careers, but we don't want each other's careers.
Yeah.
And I love my brother James, and I love the music that he makes and where he goes. But when people suggest that we all go on tour together, I look back at them and I say, here's what I would like you to do. I would like you to get together with all of your siblings. I want you to be in a confined space with them for about a month of rehearsal, and then I want you to get on a bus with them and travel around for 6 months to a year, and let me know how you're feeling about one another. and obviously, when you propose that to somebody, they realize that they love their family, but they don't want to be living with them for an indefinite length of time.
Yeah, true. Just the same, it must have been a great moment to get together in the studio.
Yeah. It's wonderful for us to get together, and it's wonderful for us to get together at Thanksgiving or Christmas, and we make a little music there too. But we like to get together because it's a joy, not because it's a job.
Yeah, but there really is something unique in the sound when siblings sing together. Do you feel that too?
Well, I certainly feel it, and I can tell you, nothing is more fun than singing and playing with James Taylor. He is a truly great guitar player.
Yeah.
And it is so much fun to play with him when he's playing guitar.
Step by Step has a rather interesting story as to how it all came together. Could you relate that to us?
Well, yeah, I was the kernel of that song. I was down in Texarkana, which is on the Texas-Arkansas border, and I was speaking with a group of high school students, and I had a group of African American students sitting together, and here I am, 50 plus years old, from Cambridge, Massachusetts, and here I've got a group of students, and I was struggling to figure out how to get through to them, how to get across to them. And I was speaking about it being one place and wanting to get to another place, and it be necessary to always go step by step, that you could not, that if you cannot complete your journey without taking successive steps. You may not skip a single one of them. And so then I offered them up a great, sort of the city on the hill, as it were. Would you like to be rich and famous and be and the answer is, particularly for adolescents, yes, I'd like to be rich and famous. Good. But then the next question is, are you ready to take a little step? And then it fell into that. I want to know, are you ready to take a little step? Now you just take one little step like this, and then you go step, and then that fell into step by step, and then step by step by step by step, and it was so funny in that class, and and they were laughing at me as I moved around, and that was the kernel of that song was Texarkana, Texas.
Another track on the album, My Baby Don't Mind, a track in which on your notes you say invokes memories of your late brother Alex.
Oh, well, Alex was the guy who brought to James, Kate, and myself the conceptualization that you could make money and make a living doing it, John.
Mm-hmm.
He was an absolutely wonderful force. He was sadly terribly alcoholic, and ultimately died of his alcoholism at the age of 45. That said, he was the guy who really showed us that music was a viable direction, that this was something we could do, that we could make a living doing, and that this was a worthwhile way to spend a life. I can safely say, and I know James agrees with me, that without Alex, there would have been no James Taylor, Kate Taylor, Livingston Taylor as musicians. He was the influence.
Mm. Were you aware when you were writing the song that? Did you have Alex in mind when you wrote the song, or did it become apparent later?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. When I'm writing these songs, I have numbers of situations in mind. Also, something that I'm very fond of doing when I'm writing that is I take a song that I admire, and I put that song up on a wall, and I refer back to that song in the writing process. Sometimes I'll use little parts of it, but sometimes the song can be very, very different than the song that I'm actually writing. I was writing a song the other day called "Call Me Carolina," and the song that I was using was the Robbie Robertson song, "The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down."
Oh, yeah.
And the two songs have absolutely nothing to do with one another, but I used the template of the song that I admire allows me to not get too far off track as I'm sort of struggling with the creative process.
When you're putting together a new CD like this, do you pay a lot of attention to the sequencing of the songs?
Yes, I do pay attention to that. And what will happen is that I will come to the CD project with a number of songs, and then if there's a place where I'm deficient, for instance, on this CD, there's a song called "Blame It On Me," which is sort of this very poppy James Taylor-esque type of song, by incidentally James's favorite song on the record. No surprise. It's a very I didn't have that feel on the record, and so I had this song started, and I went ahead and recorded it without having finished the lyrics, which is a very serious faux pas. People should never do that. Never record unfinished songs. It is a recipe to waste huge quantities of money and time. But that notwithstanding, I did. I broke my own rule and recorded this song because I needed the feel that this song had as part of the record.
Yeah. There's a fantastic list of musicians on the record, a grand list of musicians. Were there any that you had handpicked specifically for specific roles?
Well, the thing that I like to do, the answer is no. What I like to do is assemble great parts. It's like cooking a terrific meal. The best thing to do is to assemble beautiful ingredients and then don't mess with them very much. And I had a body of work, a body of songs that I was very proud of, and I assembled great players, and then I got out of the way. and you would be astounded how little input I would give to people. I don't micromanage these sessions, and neither does my producer. I assemble great ingredients and then let those ingredients sort themselves out. Now, by the way, John, often I would record a song. There were a number of songs that I recorded, not a number, but there were three songs that I recorded that didn't make it to this record because I wasn't happy with the way they turned out.
Okay.
And I will re-record them for the next record and get them right. They just didn't go to what I thought was their full potential. So I didn't put them on.
Now, not too long after we spoke last time, I had the pleasure of reading your book stage performance.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Which is, I would recommend to anybody, as a fantastic resource to anyone looking to get into a career in music.
That's very sweet of you for saying, John. Thank you.
Do you refer back to that sometimes yourself in terms of conducting your own career?
Well, I think that I probably do. It's been a valuable resource for me, and I wrote it about, I guess 10 or so years ago now, and the fact of the matter is that there are many aspects of the music industry that have changed a great deal in the last 10 years. One thing that hasn't changed since the dawn of civilization is the fact that people love to get together with one another. They love to congregate. They love to suspend their reality and enter the reality of somebody else. They love to be entertained. They love theater. They love music. They love dance. They love performance. And above all else, human beings love watching other human beings. Mm-hmm. And so, to wit, the Oscars, the Academy Awards ceremony, where the real interest is watching other human beings walking across a carpet. That's what people are interested in. And the rest of it is superfluous to that event. And so the question is, if you want to be an entertainer or performer, how do you put people at ease? How do you allow them to suspend their reality and enter your reality and find, above all else, that reality to be safe for them so they can be protected? And, that's the essence of performance.
Now, you say you already have your next CD in mind. Do you have an idea of where you're going to go musically this time?
I am, the answer is absolutely. Again, this is all wild supposition on my part, because you never know until you assemble the ingredients how it's going to turn out. But I will go back to Nashville. That will be my base again. I'll be a little more. I want to be a little more Broadway-esque. I want to be. I've got a couple of songs that are really sort of big Broadway type songs, and I'm going to. And I really look forward to recording those. I'm going to continue to do work with other people, duets, that sort of thing. The other thing that I look forward to is going into different genres. I got a couple of kind of more driving rock and roll-ish sorts of songs, and I'll look forward to being in that genre and moving in that direction. You know, the blistering electric guitar. I would like it. As this record is quite diverse song to song, the next one will be, and even more so. Mm-hmm. I want to be truer to each genre that I'm in. The common thread being my voice and my sensibility. But I don't mind a record being quite different song to song.
We really do look forward to that, and but in the meantime, we have this fantastic new CD. There you are again to enjoy. Do you have Australian distribution for it?
The answer is that I do not know. I believe that I am distributed. My record company here in the States is a company called Chesky Records.
Okay.
Chesky, and they're an audiophile label that I've done a lot of projects with before. And I love these guys, and so my feeling is that they do have a distribution network in Australia, but the fact is that if they don't, it's always available at livetaylor.com, or just throw Livingston Taylor into any search engine and it'll take you to my website. Yep. And you can order it from me directly. Fantastic.
Livingston, thank you so much. A delight to catch up with you again.
John, I cannot thank you enough for staying up late, speaking with me, and just allowing me the wonderful fantasy of being in across the great continent of Australia.
My pleasure entirely, and I really do keep my fingers crossed we do get you down here. It'll be fantastic to have you in our neighbourhood to play music for us.
I'm looking forward to it.
So are we. All the best, Liv. Have a great day.
Thank you, John.
Terrific. Bye-bye.